Welcome to Poemify Podcast, the poetry and art talk show, where we celebrate the beauty and diversity of African art. Our show features interviews with African artists, poets, and other creatives who draw inspiration from the rich cultural heritage of Africa. In each episode, our host engages in a lively discussion with our guests, delving into the inspiration behind their art, the cultural significance of African work, and the role of poetry and arts in promoting and preserving African culture. So, if you're a lover of arts, poetry, or African culture, tune into our podcast today and join us on this exciting journey of discovery and creativity. Once again, welcome to Poemify Podcasts.
Welcome. We are here again. I don't come again. As you know, it's your baby girl, your host, Osinayah Isaac. And for those tuning in for the first time, this is Poemify Podcast. We know what we do here. Yeah. So if you're a lover of art, poetry, or African culture, this podcast is for you. Please do not leave. Stay with us till the end. So on this episode, you know the fall in her hand. Never. I got you with gallant. Yeah. So on today's episode, we'll be discussing about poetry. And Happyprince is with us. You see, I'm already even stuttering. But I want to be happy. That's why I'm just giving people this ginger. Do you want to be happy? I also want to be happy. Happyprince. Royalty plus happiness. But wait, Peso. Do you know society exists without poets? Do you? You don't. Yeah, now let me tell you. According to few experts, poetry is an expression of the beautiful through the medium of words, artfully woven together. You get. T gets. Yeah, now let's go. Poetry is a vehicle for transmitting human knowledge and values, a sense of good and evil, history, the great deeds of men and women, ancient traditions, and links with nature. Poetry can also help increase cultural awareness, as the poetry of a culture offers insight in that culture's history and value. So if you want to know more about poetry, how we can use poetry, how we feel use poetry chop, feel use poetry play, feel use poetry sing, feel use poetry wear clothes, they walk out for a road with our head up high. Join me as we have a nice session with Happyprince. Lego my people. Oh yeah, now. Okay, welcome to today's episode, Mr. Happyprince. I'm so elated to have you on today's episode with the name Happyprince. Like, I know that this session is going to be lit. Everybody's going to have a nice time. So please, can you tell us more about yourself? Who is Happyprince?
Well, thank you very much, Oluwatosin. I'm glad to be your podcast. Happyprince. My name is Happyprince Osinayah. Happyprince is my stage name, and it's been my stage name for over 10 years now. Happyprince has the coinage has a unique story behind it. Maybe something I may not want to talk about now. But I am from Enugu State, Kano East. In Enugu State, a place called Amozam in Owoka. The first son of a family of 7. I came into this world as a twin, but the only surviving. My twin brother unfortunately died, and I'm a poet, performer, and writer. What else? I studied biochemistry, University of Nigeria, Nsukka, served in Osun State. What else? I'm married, a very beautiful woman, and I live in Abuja, where I run a theater, an art theater, Musings of the Madman art theater, and we have a show, one of our events, Musings of the Madman, which is a poetry theater, where I have the Happyprince live segment where I perform for 60 minutes. telling real human stories, and of course I worked with some people in the industry, some of whom people might consider big names. And of course, not forgetting that I am the founder of Aba Poetry Club, which I founded in 2017, and which has been doing wonderfully well in terms of exposing young talents, young creatives in Aba to the beauty of art, and helping them embrace their talents, and also helping them to build them into skills. So, yeah, that's me in a nutshell. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Happyprince. So, apart from writing, performing, and blogging, what are your hobbies? What do you like to do? Things that you love to do that looks fun or is fun to you?
Well, I love hanging out with my wife. I love hanging out with my wife. Sitting down and arguing. I love hiking. I love going on adventure, visiting natural sites, places. Where I live, there's a mountain where I go from time to time to what I consider creative malting. I love traveling a lot, because I believe that journeys take us from where we are to other places, interact with cultures, and people, of course. Listen to stories. As a storyteller, one thing that I enjoy about traveling is that it exposes me to tales of other lands. I also love. You said apart from writing, but I'm going to say that I love writing poems, especially when I'm mobbed by inspiration. Sometimes you get into a space and there is this overflow of music, and then you have to dive in and get it out. Another thing that I like, which might sound that I enjoy, which might sound awkward, is that some way, somehow, I enjoy what I do with pain. I enjoy what I do with pain. I try to turn it into an ingredient for my art, because I believe that life, no matter how you see it or how you understand it or how you apply life, it will always throw things at you that are sometimes not pleasant. So it matters what you do with the pain that it produces. So I enjoy using pain whenever it happens, to turn it into something creative. That way I tell whatever has caused it that, hey, you're wasting your time. What else do I enjoy? I enjoy music a lot. I didn't mention earlier, even though I no longer consider myself. When I was in the university, I was a member of a musical group. We called ourselves the Musings, and we produced 2 tracks along the roadside and down below. So part of what I also do is that I write songs. I write songs, and I also sing. I have 1 or 2 videos of me singing out there anyway. So yeah, that's me, what I like. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing your hobbies with us. God, imagine your hobby, your first hobbies. I love hanging out with my wife. God, the God of the singles. when shall thou answer us? But I'm happy you love spending time with her. I'm very, very happy you love music. Like, it's really fun. Your hobbies are nice. Thank you so much. And unique too. Unique. There are levels to these things. Okay, moving on. Please, can you tell us how your poetry journey started? How did you start writing? How did it all come about? Were you just walking and then the wind was in your hair, and then all of a sudden you looked at your surrounding, and then you started piecing the words together, and then you just found your interest, like boom, I feel like there's a spark and I just need to go into this. So how did this journey start, your writing journey? How did it start?
I like to say that poetry found me and poetry healed me. I've been writing since I was a kid, like from the age of 9. I remember that I would sit down in front of the TV and listen to Sirius Toba on NTA, read the news, and I would record the news. I remember that. My dad encouraged me. He would make sure that I have exercise books and the biro to do that. But what became poetry for me is something that I didn't understand that I was doing. It was actually my younger brother who called me sometime in 2014, 2012, 2014, I can't remember now, and told me, man, I think I had left an update on Facebook, and then he told me, man, what you wrote is poetry. And I said, wow. And then I went back and started looking at the things, because the truth is that I never liked literature when I was in secondary school. It's funny, yeah, but it's true. I never liked literature. In fact, it was because of literature that I didn't study law. Because when I was in secondary school, I was good in the arts and sciences except literature. So because of literature, I didn't study law because I knew I was going to read a lot of books. So back to the story. So when my brother called me, because he is a rapper, and even though he don't chase money later on, but when he called my attention to it, I began to see the poetry in what I do, and that enabled me to follow what I consider a different path, which has been marked with a lot of breaking of rules. So poetry, I began to call it poetry from that time, 2012, 2014. A time when in my life when I felt I was, I just finished service. I just finished service, and came back, and things weren't as expected. And I was at the point of my life where I was depressed, but I started writing about pain. I wrote a lot about pain. And then he told me that, and I said, wow, this is poetry. And then I began to arrange them, began to arrange the words into stanzas and all that, and verses and all that, and began to look at the rhymes. Like I was writing those things in my rhyming, but I wasn't calling it poetry. So then I began to look at the rhymes, the rhyme scheme, and all that. These are just the little things that I picked from literature anyway. So yeah, I didn't go from my entry and my debut as a poet. Didn't go through the natural order, and of course I've had this kind of story from other people. artists alike who shared the experiences. So it was, poetry healed me. It saved me from pain, because the more I wrote about pain, the more I eased my heart, and then I got in there in 2017, of course, founded our Poetry Club, brought people together, in our bar, and we started pushing it, and we began to grow together, began to learn things from each other. So my rise wasn't just something that happened. It's me. It's a process of also learning from other people, listening to them. But I've always been guided by this principle that it is art when the artist says it is art. There are two levels of levels of contact here. The perception, of course, and intention and all that. But if you say that what you have is art, then it's art. It doesn't matter what any other person says. For the audience, it is how it hits them. For me, it's art. It does not have to be sophisticated. So I've always weaned myself from that, seeing art as one sophisticated thing. No, it's a simple. Poetry for me is as simple as a smile. Yeah, it's as simple as a smile. It's as simple as the smile from a baby. The smile from a baby who's just been born. The mind is tabula rasa, and then it's also as difficult as the moans of a mother who is in labor. It's as sophisticated as that. So, I think I've answered your question. I think maybe rolled off, but in a nutshell, poetry found me, and I started writing to heal myself, and I've been writing ever since, and I'm not going to stop. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing the journey with us. It's so inspiring. Poetry found you. Nice. Thank you so much. So what inspires you? Where do you draw your inspiration from? Nature, song, clothes, colors, food, smell. Where do you draw your inspiration from?
I would say that I draw my inspiration from nature. Yes, we have issues of climate change and all that, and advocacy around it. But there are some aspects of nature that are still here with us and will never go away. For instance, gravity. You throw something up and then it comes down. As physics, the gravitational pull and all that. What I like to call the cohesion between natural elements. For instance, if it's raining, you have lightning, you have thunder. Seasons will come, follow each other. You have the dry season, you have the rainy season. They alternate in that order. So there is almost no struggle between natural forces, and I think that was the original plan of the creator, whatever name you call it. I like to refer to the creator as an it, because I don't believe it has a gender. I don't know where they got the idea that it's male. So whatever name you call it, whatever designation you call the creator, I believe that the original intent was for man to behave like nature. It's unfortunate that today we now mirror nature like I'm explaining now. So there is also that element of rebirth in nature. Okay, like I talked about the seasons. So the rainy season comes, it goes, to return the next year. So there is that continuum in nature. And there is order in nature. There is also the what we may consider the negative side of nature, where you talk about survival. Charles Darwin wrote a book, his research, he termed it on the origin of species by natural selection, and then he talked about one of the ideas that he based his theory on was that natural organisms in nature try to survive, that they are in a constant that there is a constant need for survival by organisms in nature, and that is why you can see a soldier ant, and then you try to stop it. It tries to find a way to get out, because it's threatened by by your finger. So yes, I draw my inspiration from nature, and when I say nature, I also mean everything in nature, both the things that we personify and the things that personify things. So with humans and all, I look at nature and I learn, and that's why, like I said earlier, there's a mountain here where I go to. I think before every show I go there and just sit down. It's not like it's a spiritual exercise. No, it's just something that I do to revive myself, to refuel my mind and refocus my imagination, because I believe that that nature holds all the answers that we seek. So yes, that's where I draw my inspiration. Nature.
Thank you so much. It is true that nature has all the answers that we seek, from the sky to the air, to colors, to the rivers, to the birds, everything. Thank you so much. So as a poet, please, how can poetry be used as a tool for social injustice, political participation, religious emancipation, activism, and awareness? As a poet, can you tell us, how can poetry be used as a tool?
I think the question should be how poetry can be used as a tool against. Okay. I am of the opinion that art should be on the side of the people. And when I say the side of the people, I mean on the side of good. Art has always been a tool for engendering social change. Some of the major changes that we've seen in this world were done through art, and I mean art, something as simple as speech. Martin Luther King was able to sustain his non-violent approach to civil disobedience through art. And what did he do? He spoke. Sometimes people think that speech is not an art. It is an art. In my Igbo language, we say that okubonka. Okubonka means that speech is art. So it is something you learn. And of course, some people have it, naturally. So I think that one way that art generally, I'm going to talk about art generally in poetry. Art has always been there. Magic Fashek, we had Magic Fashek. Magic Fashek, by the way, is my favorite Nigerian reggae artist. He's late now. Died in 2020. Magic Fashek sang extensively against oppressive government policies and military regimes. He sang against the apartheid in South Africa. We had a lot of them there. Bob Marley also sang against it. And of course, we have our own fella who sang against it. So these artists were on the side of the people. They understood the suffering of the people, and they stood with the people. Now, one poet that I will consider my mentor, and the only one I consider a mentor, the only poet I consider a mentor, is a poet called Sir Williams. Sir Williams is an American poet, spoken word poet who has done a lot of work In fact, one of his pieces was about coltan. Coltan is what is used, is a mineral that is used in producing these phones. Now, the phones are producing our phones, and it comes from a culture of oppression in the Congo. Some of the people who work in these mines are children. So he did that piece and some other pieces. There was also this Langston Hughes who wrote extensively against the oppression of blacks in America. There was there is the last poet. In fact, I joined a bi-weekly reading where we have one of the founders of the Last Poets of Harlem in America. We do a Zoom reading. I do a Zoom reading with them, some poets from all over the world. So I'm opportune to join them bi-weekly. And one of the founders of the members of the Last Poets, Pa Abiodun Oyewole, we read with him, and for me it's such a great honor. So the Last Poets also were there. They wrote and performed, pieces that highlighted the problem, the civil rights issues in America at the time. And of course, in America, in Nigeria, we have poets like Ani Oshundare, who has written extensively against even the malpractices in the judiciary. And of course, we have our own, my friend and my boss, Dike Chukwumerije, whose poetry has been focused on Nigeria. So we have a lot of issues. In fact, you hardly walk into a room now and then you don't hear a poet saying something that is enlightening or highlighting a social issue. Even though I have been leading some kind of advocacy on providing solutions, because you don't just come and I think in our poetry club at the time we also were hammering on that. So that you don't just come and you criticize government and all that, and then you're not providing any solution. And it's just not just about criticizing government anyway. You can talk about the social ill. You can talk about adultery, for instance, which of course is a moral issue for some. You can talk about issues of indecency in our society, social, of course, moral decay, greed, vices in general. So poetry can do that, and I think one way we can do that is by organizing open mics. This kind of interview we're having, have the media push, ideas from poets, solutions on how to move society forward. So yes, poetry is a very strong tool against social vices and anything that is not supposed to be in society.
Thank you so much for shedding more light into this. We're grateful. I'm grateful I've learned a thing or two, and I hope our listeners have too. So lastly, how can youths in politics use poetry as a tool for political awareness? How do you feel they can use poetry as a tool in political awareness for our youths that are in politics? Can they?
Yes, poetry can be used as a tool for political awareness. I think whoever is doing that should think in terms of generation. So the thought should be generational. And what I mean by that is, so we have students in schools now, and who become voters tomorrow, on PVCs tomorrow. So one way that poetry can be used is for, first of all, to make them interested in the art, in the art of poetry. And one way to do that is to try as much as we can not to make it too Shakespearean. And then you can pass a message. You can tell the story of Nigeria. You can tell it in a positive way, because I think also that we miss the point when we begin to speak about Nigeria in a way that that does not inspire the young, to love their country. There are good things in this country that young people can aspire to, and I think those things we can speak more about those things. And I'm not saying don't talk about the ills in the land, but like I said earlier, if I'm talking about an ill, I should also provide solution in the same poem. So one way is to organize, you can organize open mics in schools. You can organize poetry challenges, in schools. People can even do it in churches. I'm happy that today we have churches, that are featuring poetry in their programs. So that can also be done. We can also have. I remember one of the things that I pushed for as president of Abba Poetry Club was trying to let people understand that whatever program they have, if they have a luncheon, if they have a wedding, whatever program they have, even a burial ceremony, that a poet can come and perform. And so you can have people perform at youth events. You can organize an event for the youth, and then people perform there. So for me, I think it's like I said, people should think generational. And by next election, 2027, we'll have a new set of voters emerge. Some people are going to turn 18 this year. Some people are going to turn 18 next year, and so we have, like, in the next 4 years, we can have four sets of 18-year-olds, being who are right to vote. So if we push poetry and to schools and churches and places of youth, I believe that it's going to help to inspire them to be engaged in our politics, and also to participate in the process of recruiting our leaders. So yes, I think poetry, and that way is also to post on social media. Social media is a very powerful tool. I know one of the challenges that we had in the past was the cost of making videos. But right now, you have your phone. If you have a phone with a good camera, and if you have just mini editing skills, right now, if you have even apps that can make videos, that can also help. So you can also use social media, because most of these young people are on social media. Use social media, come up with very creative content, and build some kind of following, and then people, follow you, and you just positive content through poetry that will speak to issues of leadership and politics. I believe also that we're going to catch young people. So yes, poetry can be used if properly applied in a very creative way to inspire the youth. Thank you.
Whoosh, that's a lot. Thank you so much. I'm grateful. So youths in politics, I hope you've heard that you can use poetry as a tool for political awareness. And don't just think about now, think about the future, So lastly, your annual show, the Musings of the Madman, such a catchy headline, I must say. But I'd like to know how you came about that, and how would you direct an Abuja and its environs residents who'd love to see your show? How would you direct them to the show?
Well, thank you for that. Musings of a Madman is my way of sharing my art with the world. I've always wanted to have a show of my own, and that is it. We're having the third staging next month, 20th of May, at the Community Hall, Cyprian Ekwensi Center for Arts and Culture, Area 10, Gariki here. The show is a collaboration with the Department of Arts and Culture, Social Development Secretariat here. So Musings of a Madman is me bearing my whole self, with the audience, telling stories that happen, of stories of things that happen in everyday life. For this year, we are working on the theme of absence, and it is inspired by events of COVID-19, because I believe that we shouldn't forget. The society should never forget its past, no matter how gory the past or how beautiful it is. Society should never forget its past. That is why in Japan, in Hiroshima, they have a monument to the atomic bomb that was, the Hiroshima incident, where the atomic bomb was dropped. They have a monument to it, in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Now that's a gory past, but because of the way, the level they are at as a society, they have built a monument to it to remind people of the pain of that time, and to warn the future that, hey, this has happened, and because of that, we should never have a repeat of this. So Musings of a Madman for this year, we are tackling that to remind the audience and Nigeria that there was this gory past that we had. People were locked down away from nature and all that, but we survived. So what we are celebrating through the show, which my 60-minute performance will be addressing, is the resilience that helped Nigerians and entire humanity to survive that period. My working theory is that absence is presence. So that's a bit abstract. But my working theory is that absence is presence. So if somebody is not here, it doesn't mean they are not present. They are present in your thought. They are present in the objects of memory. So that is why, for me, people don't really die, and there are things, they are present in objects of memory, and objects of memory can just be mere thoughts. They can be items that you own, and that is why when you go to a sorcerer to make spell, they will ask you if you brought an item that belongs to some kind of spell. You brought an item that belongs to the person, the person you're targeting. So in effect, absence is not does not mean nothing. Nothing is something. So absence is present. That's my working theory. So the ticket is available for people can buy tickets to come to the show. The ticket is 2,000 naira, and of course it's available at Tel Africa, www.telafricatickets.com /product/musings/a/madman/with/Happyprince. I think that's a link to buy tickets. So everyone is invited to come see the show. We're also using the show to celebrate Mental Health Awareness Month, which is every May. May is Mental Health Awareness Month. So since we're dealing with a mental health issue, we're also using the show to celebrate Mental Health Awareness Month. So we're also partnering with an NGO here that will also come that day and share flyers to people and educate people on mental health issues. So yes, that's what the show is about. And of course, we'll be having 6 Foot Plus. 6 Foot Plus is a veteran Nigerian rapper. He will be there to perform. King Abdul Kas will be there. We have Stazara, she's a poet, she'll be there. We have G Papa, a rapper, will be there, will be on stage. Ishida is a musician, he'll be there. My friend GB Chris will be there. Of course, on my way, one of Nigeria's finest poets will also be there on that day. And of course, my beautiful wife, Tehila, will be there to perform. And guess what? The FCT cultural troupe, the prime cultural troupe in Nigeria, will also be there to perform. So you can bring your family, you can bring your friends. If you're outside of Abuja, you can buy tickets for people to come see the show. Thank you. Thank you.
Happy Prince, thank you so much. Thank you for sharing your experience. Thank you for telling us more about poetry. Thank you so much for the ways we can use poetry in our environment, our occupation. Thank you so plenty much. A plenty job. So who learned something? Yeah, I learned something. I learned something, you know. But let me just leave it. Let me put in my bag for the greater days. So please, if you're in Abuja or the environs, see 2K. The money is not plenty. Shaking money 2K. You can be saving now. They say me to 200 per. You know, plenty. By God's grace, you will get it. 2K, and you see the site www.tellaafrica.com/product/music/off/a/madman/with/happy prince. Please get your tickets. You are invited. I am invited. Your spouse is invited. Your family is invited. Your crush is invited. Your love is invited. Your children is invited. I don't even know if you can bring your pets, but you know, if you have a pet and they can cooperate, they're invited to. Just get a ticket, or as many as you can, please. They say Adukas is coming. Prime Cultural Troupe is coming. A lot of creatives are coming. Please come and experience life, poetry in its fullness. Thank you so much, Happy Prince. I'm so grateful. Thank you. The thank you can never be too much. God bless you. And we have come to the end of today's episode. Did you feel us? I felt it too. You felt it. Did you learn something? Because I did. Please, my people, try and attend this show. 2K, you will not regret it. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend, and turn up is in Abuja. A lot of things will be going down that day. Please, my people. All right, now see you on our next episode. I remain your host, Osinayah Agu, and I'm bringing more ginger. Stay tuned.
Thank you for having me. I'm grateful to the Poemify team for putting this together, and for everyone who listened. I'm grateful, and you've been a wonderful host. Thank you, and good night.